On today's Big Drive Energy, we're going to discuss my life as father of one. We're going to discuss, we've been off for a week. Sorry about that to everyone, but we're going to be back with a big packed episode today, talking about the John Deere Classic as well. Sepp Straka, an impressive Sunday to go take the dub from all of our guys. Again, shocker. We're going to talk about Rickie Fowler putting Mitchell's foot directly into his own mouth. And then Brooks Koepka. And then Brooks Koepka talking shit about his own teammate, Matt Wolff, along with a new partner alert, Bet365. We're going to give you guys our big bet energy for not only the Scottish Open, but the Barbasol. It's a 2-for-1 special this week on Bet365, and we've got a ton of free bets to play with, so we're going to add those in weekly. And of course, this podcast is always brought to you by our great friends over at Pins and Aces. We have our tournament next Friday here in Denver, and then we've got one that we just announced in Chi-Town, Chicago, going to Cog Hill, August 25th. And these are all brought to you by our presenting sponsor over at Pins and Aces. They make the best golf gear in the game. They just released a bunch of new head covers for 4th of July, Independence Day. Really great stuff. And their head covers are not only quality stuff, but they have the best designs of anyone. Everybody tries to jack their stuff. They got Mitchell to wear joggers, which is still to this day, their most important feat of the company's career. No, I'm just kidding. But Pins and Aces definitely has the best golf gear. We're right smack dab in the middle of golf season. It's going to be 90 degrees all week here in Colorado, and great weather around the state and around the country to go get out there and play. So make sure you're getting out there and playing. And when you do, go to pinsandaces.com to get yourself some new golf gear. Treat yourself. Use that promo code BDE to save yourself 15% off plus free shipping on that order. Once again, that's 15% off everything at pinsandaces.com. Tag us when you get that receipt and use that code. Save yourself some money over at Pins and Aces. The best golf gear in the world. It's all we wear on the golf course. My entire closet is full of it. So BDE, get yourself a beer sleeve, get yourself a liquor stick, get yourself some of the South Park creation before it's all gone. Once again, promo code BDE over at pinsandaces.com. Save yourself Nikola Jokic % on your entire order. All right, let's tee it up. Buddy, shit is
you're going through
hard. I can't tell you how insane it is that people willingly do this multiple times.
Yeah, that's what I can only imagine, like living like just knowing that I had a great night of sleep last night. I woke up at like 8 o'clock. No disturbances, no crying. For those of you who don't know, Spencer is a new dad. Sawyer Smith was born last Thursday.
Yeah, I don't know what day it is anymore at this point. They all kind of blend together. Yeah, I don't know how old he is. I think he's like almost 4 days old. He'll be 4 days old. That he was born at 10:32 p.m.
Well, you guys had a long few days though, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite the few days. I'll save everybody the entire detailed story of his birth, but basically, yeah, we were at the hospital most of Wednesday night, and then pretty much all of Thursday from about 11 o'clock until we didn't leave the hospital actually until Saturday afternoon, evening. Went home, went back a couple of times. So he was born, like I said, 10:30 on Thursday. Big giant kid, 9 pounds 6 ounces, just massive.
He looks like he's already like a month old. Like he came out, he does not look like a newborn baby. That was like the most wild shit I had seen. I was like, oh my God, is this real? Like,
yeah, basically the doctor said that the doctor called him a mini horse and also called him 3 weeks old. It was absolutely comical.
His head is
so we had a 3-week-old
than yours already.
Yeah, big dome, huge brain. But no, it's an insane experience. I know, if you've been through it, and then if you haven't, you just can't describe it, and you can't I like every one of my friends that now is going to have a kid or whoever I talk to, you can give them your experience, but there's not words in the English language to describe what happens and how it goes and what you feel and what goes down until you just go through it. So I'm going to save you the description of that. But basically, little Sawyer, Big Sawyer, Big Drive Sawyer, he was so big that he had to head to the NICU. Was in there until yesterday. We finally got him out. So just had a little bit of a blood sugar issue and some breathing. Basically couldn't breathe enough air for his giant body, was what it boiled down to, being an almost 10-pound baby. So he was in the NICU for a couple days, and it was kind of like almost like an installation to parenthood, because we got to go there every 3 hours if we wanted to. Like the NICU nurses, shout out to all of them, by the way, too. The most incredible people, just nurses and NICU nurses in general, taking care of these kids, just the absolute salt of the earth, peak people that you, yeah, we didn't have one bad experience. So shout out to all those nurses. I know they probably don't play golf and don't listen to this podcast, because they gave me shit for watching the John Deere Classic in the room on Friday. I had it like pulled up, and they were like, they said something to the effect of like, when they were leaving the room after they were doing some stuff, they were like, yeah, you can get back to watching golf. Like, they had that tone. And I was like,
they don't get it. Yeah.
They don't know. I'm like, lady, my guy, Seamish Powers is he's lighting it up.
Did you just say Seamus in a real tone?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, there's going to be some things I say today that I've slept about 4 total hours in the last 24-ish or so. So I'm running on some fumes here. Well, but
so I was going to say that, almost like, obviously you want a healthy baby, and it sounds like he was a healthy baby. There's just a few things they wanted to keep him for, but it honestly sounds like you got it a little bit easier not having to just like take him home 2 hours after he's birthed, and like, what the hell do we, like you're kind of easing your way into it a little bit. Like you said, like you can wrap your head around it. He's not in the back of your car 3 hours after he's being born, and you're like, what do we do with this living creature? You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say you got it easy, but I would say that was probably a low key, like, good way to like get yourself into it, and not just be boots on the ground fucking that night that he's born and you're home alone with him. Like, what do we do here?
Yeah, well, either way, they would have kept us until like Saturday morning, but we would have had him in our room the whole time, and would have had to like do all the stuff and take care of him, instead of him being somewhere else where we had to go like visit him, essentially. But yeah, it was kind of crazy just the way it worked out in general, because he was in the room with us right away. And it was about like 1 or 2 in the morning. So Friday morning, it was like 1 or 2, and they came in and they're like, hey, like, do you, here's a couple things you need to do. Like, they tell you everything, which is awesome. Like, you don't feel like you're leaving there and don't know what to do. Now you get home and there's, it's a whole different set of scenarios, but they were like, do you want us to just take him for a little bit and walk him around the hallways in his little cart? And they did. And that's when he ended up like turning a little blue, and they like ended up putting him in the NICU. So it's kind of like a godsend in general, just because if we would have been in the room with him and he was quote unquote sleeping, and so were we, he wasn't like necessarily crying. So we wouldn't have noticed that. And then who knows what would have happened if we wouldn't have noticed that for a couple hours, and then ended up having to have it happen. So it was kind of just the way it worked out. It was a godsend. And like I said, baby being in the NICU is not an ideal situation, but we definitely got to learn a ton of things, go see him every couple hours for 2 to 3 days, and then brought him home yesterday. But buddy, let me tell you about the first night. Holy cow. So he's been sleeping all day long, like basically sleeps for 2 to 3 hours. We kind of have to wake him up and feed him, or if he wakes up before that, he, eats on his own, get the little bottle and stuff ready. But last night, just sleeping fine. We went to bed fed him at like 10, then went to bed. And then he did not want to sleep from the hours of like 12 to like 2:30, dude. And it's absolutely incredible that you don't know what to do. Like, when he's crying, you just don't know if he's like hungry. You don't know if he's cold. You don't know if he shit himself. All these,
that pretty quick.
Yeah. All these sort of things. But it was so funny because I ended up like taking him out of the room and walking around with him for a little bit. And buddy, I came back into the room and not only didn't stub just one of my toes on the bed, but stubbed 2. I
smoked your whole foot.
Oh, both of my pinky toes on both feet, dude. I am an absolute wreck. I was like trying to
And
put him back in his little bed and
you
just
didn't drop him.
stubbed the hell out of my left pinky toe on the right side of the bed, put him in the bed, and then walk over to the other side of the bed and proceed on the same exact leg, other side of the bed, stub my right pinky toe, dude. I went straight to my pillow and just gave it a few Mike Tyson right hooks. I was like, this has to happen right now. Both my pinky toes are just as red as a tomato, and they hurt.
Purple about
they do not they do not feel good. But no, I just didn't want to sleep until like 2:30. Then finally got him back to sleep for random hours at a time. And it's a crazy experience. But yeah, I can't believe people do this like 2 times in a row and just like have another kid and like know what's coming.
Yeah, willingly like put yourself in that situation again. Is this like a crazy thought? Like, I don't want to compare human babies to dogs, but like you keep him awake a little bit more during the day with the intention of him sleeping more at night. Is that a thing, or you just like when he's asleep, you just let him sleep kind of thing?
No, you just let him sleep because I think what generally is going to happen is I think I'm going to switch my own sleeping schedule and try to sleep a lot more during the day versus like at night, and just make sure that in a 24-hour period, I try to get as much sleep as I can. Like they generally say when he's sleeping, you try to sleep, no matter when that is. So I think I'm going to be getting some like 10 a.m., some noon, some just random naps during the day. But also kind of hilarious. So I'm delirious right now. I was way more delirious at like 2 a.m., but we have him in the little bassinet next to the side of the bed, not my side of the bed. And he was in there asleep, and Kylie was doing some stuff out of the room. And so then I go over to that side of the bed and like lay down. Like I just lay my head flat on the bed, which is psycho behavior. No pillow. And
I actually don't hate that. It's sometimes just flat, just head flat, no pillow. Like
yeah, it didn't involve alcohol. Usually that involves some sort of alcohol for me to sleep like that.
Yeah, you're not doing it sober.
Yeah, but so I'm laying my head on the bed and I'm over on his side and like kind of like not shaking. I'm not shaking this
like
baby.
Oscillating his bassinet.
Yeah, like oscillating it, just moving it a little bit at a time because that seemed to like help him stop crying. And I was like, oh, dope, this is sick. And so like I think I fell asleep for like 45 minutes or I don't know how long. It was all blur. But then he started crying again. And so I like reach over and like half asleep and like rocking the bassinet, and he's not in there. Kylie had him and he's crying on the other side of the bed. And I am just, buddy, I'm rocking this empty bassinet. Kylie's laughing so hard that I end up waking up, and then I like get up and I'm like 3/4 to almost full awake. And I'm like looking around and freaking out because I'm rocking this empty bassinet. I thought I lost my own child the first night. But then he was just, with Kylie and sleeping and crying. So it was, stub toes, rocking an empty bassinet. We ordered a mini fridge for his room, like a little tiny fridge to put his like bottles and stuff in, so we don't have to walk all the way over to the kitchen. Just a few things, but I did tell her this morning, I was like, yo, when we're semi awake today and semi more clear headed, we need to make a fucking plan. And everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, which happened to us and will happen multiple nights again, I think, for probably a week or so. But at least having some sort of a lined out plan will give me an idea of what I'm doing and make it better. But I did I turned on like a podcast at 2:30 in the morning and was just kind of like listening to that, which is nice with these headphones because you can still hear him, but he's a little like doled out. And, it's not like as maddening when you can't figure out what's wrong.
Just drowns him out of hair.
Yeah. So
has he seen you shirtless yet? Has he tried to latch on one of those man titties?
No. Yes, he has seen me shirtless, but no, he didn't try to latch on me. He just grabbed my innate amount of chest hair and was just holding on to it. So this kid,
five hairs on your chest and tried to rip them out.
Exactly. Oh, I've been using Manscaped quite a bit, so that shit's growing in. And now that I'm a dad, I anticipate being 150% hairier initially, right off the jump.
Have you gained any strength now that you're a new father?
Well, I haven't really done anything other than sit on the couch and lay in bed and hang out with him. So once I get outside into the outside world again, and maybe I'll try to cut down a few trees,
Okay.
break a few sticks,
You need to
mow the
get you some
lawn.
Air Monarchs, I think.
Dude, I'd rock some Air Monarchs full on.
I think those would be good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, enough about my story. Let's hear about your week. A little different for you being a big beach guy now. You sent me a photo of your feet. I don't know if we're gonna find that on Feet Finder at any
No,
point, but
that's
you
not
you
fair.
had the are those Abercrombie and Fitch sandals that were split in the toe?
Yes. So, well,
Oh
it
wow,
was
wow.
wild because
What do you have to say for yourself?
I am largely against flip flops, and I think I've mentioned it before on the show. Like, I do not trust any dude that openly will wear flip flops just because. Like, I will never ever wear flip flops just out of nowhere. Like, it's so violating and just so fucking weird to me that dudes do that. Um, but I was going to the beach, and I feel like anything else just does not make sense to wear. And my girlfriend gave me a bunch of shit because I told her I was going to wear like boat shoes on the beach. And she's like, you wear flip flops to the beach. You don't wear fucking boat shoes. Um, but I think I do need to get some slides because like that like split between my toes did not, first of all, just violating, not my favorite feeling in the world. Secondly, it started to hurt. Like, I don't know my feet are just so built different. Um, for those of you who don't know, and you probably will never see my feet, they're basically they're like bricks. They're square. They're basically rectangles. So I have very wide feet. They're not small. I mean, they're size 10 feet. Like, they're not like fucking size sixes or anything like that. But I do wear men's shoes. God bless. But they're not built like your average slender foot that like has an arch and everything. They're just fucking like flat and wide. And so flip flops don't necessarily work. They work okay, but my feet were almost like too wide for the flip flops, which is wild. Um, but it's crazy
You
because
got some of your feet hanging out both edges of the
yeah,
flip flops.
like I got fucking fat rolls on my feet, like hanging over the edge of the fucking sandal. But Abercrombie and Fitch has made like a big comeback recently. I don't know if you knew this, but they were like huge when we were in middle school, early high school. And then they got canceled, and all these stories started coming out about how they'd only hire like hot employees, and like if you weren't hot, you'd work in the back. Like couldn't be you couldn't be at the front of the store. Um,
See any Hooters ever?
yeah,
I'm sure that's the
exactly. Like
same scenario.
100%. They got them back on the fucking fryer. They don't have them out there serving tables, but I think I'm not going to go there. When everybody got very sensitive, they were like, that you can't really just hire hot people. So they definitely like got canceled. I think they went through bankruptcy, but anywho, they've made like a huge comeback, and now they're like a big thing again. And I found those sandals. I was at our childhood home at our mom's house. They were in my old closet from probably 14 years ago. And I was like, fuck, these still fit me. And they're like back in style now. I was like, they're Abercrombie and Fitch. Like, and it just goes to show you hold on to anything long enough, it stays in style. Um, so I busted those out. And orange, they're a little like, look at me. Like, I'm not like that. I want to be as incognito, like low key, black, everything, white. I'm not a very flashy outfit guy unless it's some pins and aces shirts, which I do like to rock. Some of the crazier ones too, but the orange was a little out there for me. But overall, other like the beach was awesome. Like I haven't been to the beach in probably since the last time I went to Hawaii, which was almost 10 years ago. So and that's what I was talking to Missy's family about it and everything. Cause she's like, yeah, he hasn't been to the beach in almost 10 years. I'm like, whenever I go on vacation, I'm like playing golf and going to the bars. Like that is what all of my vacations basically, or going to sporting events like that. That is
Yeah,
all we've
there's
done for
four
the last.
things. There's four things you need on a vacation. There's a golf course, a casino, alcohol, and sports.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
it.
Exactly. And that's, I,
Thank you. A little
I was
coffee
like,
delivery. What a
oh,
timely. What a
Wow.
timely thing.
How clutch is that?
Running on caffeine.
But yeah, I was like, do you think me and my boys sit around on vacation? Like, let's go to the beach. No, that's not what, in my opinion, that's not what we do on our guys' trips. We go golf. We go to the casino. We didn't even go to the beach when we went on your bachelor party in Tampa. Like, I guess it was January, so it wasn't like prime beach weather. But either way, when you're built like this, you're not like itching to go to the beach. You're not itching to have your whole body out there for the world to see. But it could have been worse. I will say though, so I got sunburnt, which is, pretty standard. I put on a lot of sunscreen, so it wasn't for a lack of effort, but I was just so stark white that of course you're going to get burned a little bit. My belly button got torched. Like I had like a red ring around it was like the red ring of death. Like the Xbox red ring of death was my belly button. It was so fucking hot and itchy. Like I don't know what happened, but I had to like dump I got a deep belly button, so like it's cavernous, and I don't know if all the sunscreen just like melted inside of the bottom of my belly button, but it got fucking torched. So I had to reapply. Like I think it's still it's still a little bit red, honestly. But other than that, I had a great time at the beach. I pretty much drank the entire time, so that made life a whole lot easier. And then I think anything you do that just is an excuse to like drink any time of day is something fun, like I guess I chalk that up to either like being at the casino, being at the golf course, or probably being at the beach. Or at the airport? Is there anything else that you can think of that you can drink any time of day and it's not frowned upon?
No, yeah, I think anytime you're on vacation, it's just a general that's a
Yeah, that's
general
true.
umbrella for all of those things. But no, ironically, I was kind of thinking about this, and your statement refutes it. But I was thinking the beach is the one of those four things that you can't get pissed off at. But I guess if your belly button turns into the Xbox red ring of death, yeah, that can make you pretty pissed. But like golf, yeah, it's fun until you start hitting some wonky ass shots and hitting it all over the map, and then it gets annoying.
And
Same
you're
with the casino, you start losing your son's savings account at the table, and then you start getting pissed off. So the beach is not a general place where you can get annoyed, but I guess post beach it could be annoying.
Yeah, there's a few things about the beach that can be annoying, like little kids, and there's so many little kids, especially being the 4th of July. Like I like kids, don't get me wrong. I don't I'm not obsessed with kids by any means. I'll be obsessed with your child. But that's because I'm his uncle. Other than that, like just generally little kids like running around screaming at all times of day, acting like little vagrants, fucking just being loud. I sound like a fucking 70-year-old man, like get off my lawn kind of guy. But for the most part, the beach it's pretty hard to get pissed off at the beach. The water was actually very cold, so I definitely had to go in there. And here's another question that I think we could discuss quickly. Is it frowned upon to like pee in the ocean?
No, I think everyone does that. I
Yeah,
can't do it. Like I don't like doing it. I don't like the
sensation of warm.
I don't like the feeling of letting something out of my area in being covered by something else.
Yeah, when it's like covered in water, it's kind of hard to like push it outward. Like
like I
try to sneak back inward. Like if you open that door,
exactly. I don't like opening any unsealed doors.
Like this is an outdoor only. Nothing goes in this hole.
Exactly.
No,
yeah,
totally
that scares me.
It is,
but I'm not.
Concept.
I'm also not a big. I'm not a big ocean guy. I'm a decently big beach guy. Like I like going to the beach and what it entails, like putting a cooler in the sand. But I'm not like get in the water kind of guy. I don't like. And it's not like, oh, I'm scared of sharks. Like, yeah, everybody's fucking scared of sharks. But
I'm scared of sharks.
Yeah, like there's been shark attacks all
Yeah,
over the
like you
world.
think you're tougher than a shark? No, you're not.
No, I'm not. But I'm just not like I don't like the feeling of the salt water, and if it's not like a good temperature,
Oh,
like
for sure.
when I went to Mexico, we were on the beach and I like just sitting there enjoying the sound of the water and the sand and the sun and nice weather, but I'm
Yeah.
not like big rush into the water and enjoy the waves kind of guy. It's not for me.
No, I totally agree. And like, if you're not afraid of the ocean, I don't know what the fuck to tell you because it's like the ocean is the scariest single thing on this planet, in my opinion. Um, Basically, it can do whatever it wants with you, so you're kind of at the mercy of whatever it wants to do. But yeah, the only reason I was getting into the water was because it was so hot out at points that you just feel like you have to go in there to cool off, which is nice.
You had to fucking cool down that belly button,
Oh,
bro.
dude, there's fucking flames coming out of my belly button. That shit was on fire. Like, I swear to Christ, I've never had something so hot on my body before. And just getting like burns in weird places. But I was working on the golf tan. Like, everybody knows if you're a golfer, and you only golf. Oh, yeah, yours is pretty
Dude,
bad.
mine's horrendous.
Mine has gotten a little bit better. It's still not great, but like I do have some color on like the top of my arms and like my chest and shit. But overall, it's just like a losing battle. The feet are the worst part, and that's why I was trying to get some sun on my feet, but like I said, it's a losing battle. You're never going to get as tan everywhere else, like where you normally have a golf tan. So it was just, it was an effort, but overall, I had a blast. The fireworks on the beach were awesome. Every different beach does like, so there's what I didn't know, and this is kind of cool. So in New Jersey, where Missy's family has their house, there's certain beaches for like every 3 or 4 blocks. There's private beaches for those blocks. So then you get tags to like go to that beach and that beach only. Um,
They
but
have a
then,
beach patrol.
yeah, no, they have people like checking your tags. They have people
No
like
shit.
letting you in and stuff. Yeah, none of them are really like public beaches, quote unquote. So, but it is actually very nice because that means it's not going to be crazy crowded. It's a lot of people that it was my first time being there, so I didn't know any of them, but Missy knew a lot of the people that were there. So it's not like unfamiliar, just a bunch of randos. You know what I mean? But I bet every beach probably spends like 40, 50K on fireworks because every like 5 blocks, there's just a totally different fireworks show. And you can just look down for like, as far as your eye can see, there's a different fireworks show going on. So it's just fireworks all the way up and down the beach. It's super cool. So I've had a very relaxing last week, and I know we've had kind of opposite weeks here. So I can't say I don't feel a little bit bad, but I also don't because I've just been kind of living it up. I think I'm playing golf probably 3 times this week. So uh, life is not that hard right now for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I know.
No, that all sounds great. One take I will say I saw on good old Twitter, which follow us on Instagram threads too at Big Drive Energy Pod. If you're on the Instagram threads, we'll be posting some stuff there as well. But just the firework takes about like people's animals, I can't deal with that. Like
What, like not having fireworks because you have animals or something?
correct. There was so many takes on the Twitter machine about that, and I finally lost it and tweeted something the night of July 4th. Like, dude,
So what was the take? Just like it's inhumane to like or like nobody should set off fireworks.
no, it was like I hate this holiday. I can't believe people set off fireworks. This one guy, I don't necessarily follow him. This just popped up on my feed. He's like a news guy out here. He basically said something to the effect of like, I I hate this day. I can't believe people are just setting off fireworks. My cats are scared. Buddy, I wanted to yeet my phone through the front window.
Oh my god.
Nobody gives a single fuck about your cats being scared of some goddamn fireworks. It's
Yeah,
the 4th of July. We live in America. Let them
exactly.
go. Now,
Free.
I will say, I do understand like the people that have dealt with like actual fires. Some houses get burned down. You know, that shit's it.
Yeah,
There's
like
a point where you can take it too
stuff like
far.
that. There's some seriously like shitty things about fireworks for some people, but your animals, you know, like you just put them in a room, try like turn some music on and let them chill and do their thing. Like give them a few toys. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's the world we live in, and like nobody's gonna not have fireworks because your animals are too important. You know, like I will say though, there were some people that were like they weren't walking their pets like right into like the fireworks, but like the street over where it's loud as fuck, there's people walking their dogs. I'm like, holy shit, how are these dogs not losing it? Right?
Oh Lord, Terry, back up, Terry.
Put it in
Terry,
reverse, Terry.
put it in reverse, Terry.
Yeah,
Oh Lord.
I thought these dogs are gonna fucking lose it, but I guess Missy told me that people try to desensitize their dogs by like not walking them directly into the fireworks show, but like walking like
Just run
obviously
right next to that bottle rocket. Let's play
like,
fetch with a bottle rocket.
Yeah, let's like putting fucking like little Roman candles in their collar and just fucking firing them off or all around them. But they kind of bring them close enough to like hear it and be around it so they get used to it, which is honestly not a bad idea because that's, I think, the reason that obviously pets do not generally like fireworks is because it's just loud, abrupt noises that they have no idea what's going on. So kind of familiarizing them, but not putting them in the heat of battle kind of seems like the way to go. I was just shocked when I saw that. I was like, what are these dogs doing out here? Like, poor guys fucking just getting, but they're just like doing their thing, peeing on the street and shit. But yeah, that's all I really got from me. Should we get into a little bit of golf?
Yeah. I think this is a golf podcast, even though we sometimes get off on tangents, but
It's been a good half hour talking about not golf, but that's okay.
That's what we like to do, man. That's just who we are and how we roll. But we want to talk to you guys about some of our partners, first of all. And that one of our partners, greatest burritos in the world. We've told you guys about them. If you guys are down in Arizona, Burrito Express has the absolute best burritos for any time of day. Morning, breakfast burritos. You want a little lunch break, you can go over there and get some of the steak burritos for lunch. You want a late night drunk burrito. I had a few, I haven't drank in 23 days, which does not seem like a big deal when my wife has gone 9 months. Like every time I feel like I made a big thing happen here. I didn't. But I had a few Modelo's and I was feeling it. And when I'm feeling it, the first place I think of is burritos and, just getting some greasy food in there and getting 100%. Some Burrito Express. And Burrito Express is the best breakfast burrito I've ever had. That I will take that to my grave. Every time in Arizona, that's like the first stop we make. We try to get right from the airport, get our rental car, get in our Uber. That's a little awkward ordering food in an Uber. I kind of hate that, but we always make sure to get to a Burrito Express and get their breakfast burritos because they are the best breakfast burritos ever. And they always put potatoes in them. Or I always order the ones with potatoes. Like I feel like a breakfast burrito is not entirely complete unless you've got potatoes in there. So that's just one of those things where it's like, I'm not a big, I like eggs and I like breakfast food in general, but I'm not a big fan of a breakfast burrito without potatoes. And Burrito Express, you can get the potatoes, you can get steak, you can get bacon. Best breakfast burritos I've ever had. Check out the all the locations in Arizona, specifically the Tempe one. That one right kind of by ASU's campus. Absolute best spot to get breakfast burritos. That's Burrito Express. Make sure if you're in Arizona, you check out Burrito Express. And we've got a new partner, new sponsor alert. Bet365. So no more of the, for now, we'll be giving you guys lines from our new partner and the newest sports book that has decided to come on board with the Big Drive Energy boys and Big Bet Energy, and that's Bet365. They have live in-game betting where you can watch the game from your phone. Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting. They have over 80 million users worldwide. They live stream 780,000 events each year, And every time you log into Bet365, they have boosts. So I, unfortunately, this past weekend, boosted Eric Cole to be in the top 20, and he kind of shit on himself on Sunday, so he didn't end up getting that. But there's a boost every time you log in, and we are offering you guys $200 in bonus bets when you join Bet365. So download the app, deposit minimum of $10, and to claim your $200 in bonus bets as soon as you place a bet for one single dollar. Use that promo code DNVR365 when you sign up, and you must be physically located in Colorado, 21 plus. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. So Bet365, awesome golf bets. We're going to be using our $200 in bonus bets each week for all of our golf bets that we put out on our Big Bet Energy graphic. Once again, if you're not following us, that always goes on Instagram on Wednesdays right before the tournament starts. This week it'll be out probably Tuesday. As you're listening to this podcast, go check out our Instagram at Big Drive Energy Pod and head over to Bet365 and get these bets in. Mitchell, why don't you give us, so this week we got a little bit of a double, a 2-for-1 special, if you will. So we've got the Barbasol Championship in Kentucky, which is an official PGA Tour event. And then we've got the Scottish Open, where a lot of the big guys, pretty much everybody playing in the Open Championship. Next week is major week for the final time this year. It's crazy to think it's already here. I'm going to be up with my son all night watching. That's going to be the nights that I'm like, hey, dude, stay up. We're going to be up at 2 a.m. watching golf. He was enjoying some John Deere Classic and Sepp Straka, which we'll get into in a little bit, yesterday. But the first thing he's ever watched on TV is golf, and I'm proud of that. Wearing his little cute golf onesie that I got him. But let's get your picks for this week. We're going to do 2 picks for the Scottish Open. We're going to do 1 pick of a winner and a top 10 for the Barbasol Championship. And then we're going to give you guys, so the next basically 20 weeks, we're going to give you a $10 free bet that we're using. Now you can bet it whatever you want on it, but we're only using that for the idea of our units and keeping track of our units and where we're at week to week. So we're going to give you guys 1 pick each week out of that $10 free bet. So that won't count towards our units if we lose them. It only counts if we win him, much like a lot of Mitchell's bets. It doesn't count if he loses, but if he wins, it all the credit to him, just like Rickie Fowler in the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So, all right, Mitch, let's get into your picks. Once again, that's Bet365. Download the app. Use code DNVR365 to get $200 in bonus bets. They're right. You know, I hear all these promos for apps and stuff, and they get into talking about, you know, you get your bonus bets and this and that. And I've had a few friends sign up for betting accounts before and not get their bonus bets. When I logged in specifically and used that code, that $200 went straight into my account. I could see it right away. I could bet it right away. Very easy to do with Bet365. So Mitch, go ahead.
Yeah, I've actually been loving navigating the new Bet365 app. It's there's just so much more extra stuff that you can bet on, and they literally have everything you could think of. So, this weekend, for the Scottish Open, I am rolling with a couple of Englishmen. I just feel like it's going to be an Englishman's week. So I've got Tyrrell Hatton plus 2,200 to win and plus 250 to top 10. He's been in good form. I feel like he's ramping up. You know, they're in his home country. Well, they're in Scotland. He's from England, but same idea. Everybody from over here thinks they're the same thing. And then I have Justin Rose, another Englishman, if I could talk. He's plus 4,000 to win, plus 400 to top 10. Excuse me. He's another guy that's been in pretty darn good form. I feel like he's a really good value. He's a major winner. Even though he's a little bit older, still plus 4,000 to win this week and plus 400 to top 10. I don't really think you can go too wrong there. And then for my bonus, there's one dude that I didn't have looked up that I want to look up real quick. I'm going to find this. because I want to take Yannick Paul to top 10. He's been playing very, very good golf. He's a CU Golf product. He's a German. I think we've talked about him. I would love to have him on the podcast at some point. But he is a baller, dude. Like he's just getting out on tour, but ball striking wise, he's been having a great year this year on the DP World Tour. He's already won over there. He's got multiple like top 5 finishes, but I feel like a lot of people over here don't know his name, not being on the PGA Tour and playing a lot over here. So let me see if I can find Yannick Paul. Do they go by they go by last name? So now I need to find, where are you, Yannick? This is great. Where are the P's? I don't see. Can you help me find this, Spencer? Oh, wait, there's the P's. Yannick Paul. Okay. Top 10 finish for Yannick is plus 1,200. So that is going to be my bonus bet this week. Yannick Paul, Yannick, Yannick Paul, the German, to finish top 10 at the Scottish Open this week, plus 1,200. Lock that in. I feel like that's actually a very great value that a lot of people are overlooking or just not thinking about. And then for the Barbasol, the side, what is this? What is it? Opposite field event.
Yep. The events that you said only Rickie Fowler could win.
Well, the Rocket Mortgage is kind of a off second event. Like it really is not a marquee event by any means. But anywho, we'll get into that. I've got Akshay Bhatia, the young prodigy, winning the Barbasol this week. It's kind of his first year out on tour. He doesn't even necessarily like have full tour status, but he's working his ass off to get that, and I think he's well on his way to getting it. He's had a great year so far this year. He's got all the talent in the world. He's just this super lanky left-handed guy, bombs the ball, can putt really well. So I just feel like he's kind of due to like break out and have a win. So he is plus, I think, 2,800 to top or to win, and then plus 3. Let me double check that here. Plus 2,800 to win, plus 350 to top 10 at the Barbasol. So I'm rolling with Akshay this week.
Love that, dude. Yeah, he's had a great week, and he's had just like a little run. He had a great week this past weekend at the John Deere Classic, and he's had an overall solid year. And like you said, he kind of went viral for his taking his shirt off, and dude's rail thin. Hits the ball a good bit though, and I think this is a great opportunity for him to kind of cement status on the PGA Tour. I will get into my picks for the Scottish Open, and it is insane. I'm telling you guys, like, I don't like to, go, full deep throat on, sponsors or partners or betting sites or whatever it ends up being. But like Bet365 has so many options. You can go top 2, top 3 finish, top 4, top 5, top 6, all the way through top 10, then 20, 30, and 40. And I'm going to go with Alex Smalley this week at the Scottish Open. He played great this past week, just into form, and he finished in the top 10 last year at the Scottish Open. Had a rough Sunday, shot 2 over, but was right in the mix, ended up finishing 8 strokes off the leader, but starting Sunday was only a couple shots back of eventual winner Xander Schauffele. So Alex Smalley to win outright is plus 6,600. And to top 10, he is plus 600. So I'm going with Alex Smalley this week. And then I'm also going to go a little outside the box, outside of my personal betting box, but I'm going to go with a horse for a course, and a guy that has kind of frustrated me this year in terms of his play, and I think frustrated himself. And I'm hoping his injury from a couple weeks back at the Rocket Mortgage is a little bit better. But Tom Kim He is plus 4,500 outright to win this event, and he is plus 450 to top 10. So he finished well with the Scottish Open last year. A guy that, you know, another young guy on tour that's been great. Over the start of his career has been just anything you could hope for. And he played well at the Scottish Open again last year. I think these guys are ramping up, and this is an event where, yes, there's a lot of big names in it, which is kind of cool for, you know, Scotland in general and the Renaissance Club, which is a great club. But it's guys want their game to be in good shape heading into the final major of the year. But I think something tells me that, like, they don't want to overly grind themselves out to win it necessarily. And so that's why I'm going with a couple of guys down the leaderboard a bit and down the betting odds a bit to pick them, because it makes it a little more it's a little more dialed in for them. You know, they're thinking about, like, Alex Smalley obviously is thinking about the Open Championship for sure, but he would benefit a lot more from winning the Scottish Open than a guy like Scotty Scheffler would, where he's going to have to try to win back-to-back weeks. Now, Scotty Scheffler's not a good example because he can do that like anyone, but other than him, guys are like, well, we won the Scottish Open. That's great. You want to win any tournament that you enter, you know, the old Tiger Woods quote. But I do think the guys a little bit lower down the odds of the leaderboard will give a little more effort and grind it out and try to win, versus the guys like Rory and Victor and Rickie and Tyrrell Hatton, guys like that. Like, I hope Tyrrell Hatton wins this one. I think that's, you know, Mitchell has had a rough go of it. I've been carrying us. I had another 2 top 10s this past week. No big deal with Adam Schenk and Lucas Glover, but I'll go down to the Barbasol. And let's see, I am going to pick to win the Barbasol Championship. Oh, I'm gonna go.
Lots of research being done here, folks. He's picking
tons of research. Well, I've been killing it. I'm gonna continue to kill it. I'm gonna go with Grayson Murray at plus 2,800. Another guy that's just found himself at the top of the leaderboard every single week, it seems like right now. I think he's got a great chance to win. Lucas Glover, I looked at him. That's another pick.
Grayson Murray's only past PGA Tour event win was at the Barbasol in 2017. So if he knows how to win anywhere, it's at the Barbasol. And
well, there you go, Grayson Murray. You can win at the Barbasol, and you can find yourself a flight over to the Open Championship for the next week.
Do they qualify? Do we know if they qualify for the Open if they win at the Barbasol?
Yes, I believe that is like one of the last qualifications for it.
Okay.
How about this, dude? How about looking at the Barbasol to win outright? The fourth guy on that list is Peter Kuest, who had to Monday fucking qualify for the event last week at the Farmers Insurance Open.
Well,
and now
he Mondayed at the Rocket.
Mondayed at the Rocket Mortgage, excuse me. Yeah, let's talk about Peter Kuest for a second. What an unbelievable story this dude is.
Yeah, so he's made his way out on the tour. Now I think basically he's earned himself special temporary status, which means I think he gets, you know, it's tough to I'd be lying if I said I knew all the ins and outs of temporary status, but I think this gets him into like 5 or 6 of the next 12 events. Obviously, he's not going to get into the FedEx Cup playoffs unless he earns enough points to get himself there. But I think it does carry over into the fall season too. So he's going to get spots in the next few events because he finished top 5 at the Rocket Mortgage, and then he ended up yesterday in the top 10 at the.
He finished tied for 17th at the John Deere Classic.
Oh, okay. He was right at the top of the leaderboard almost, 3.5 days. I don't know if he fell off a little bit yesterday. And that's the other thing too, is the Rocket, or not the Rocket Mortgage. The John Deere Classic was so stacked that Seamus Power, my pick, shot 15 under and didn't finish inside the top 10. And the winner only beat him by six shots. So, I guess that's not that outlandish to say he lost by 6 and he didn't finish in the top 10. But there were so many players stacked up at the top of that leaderboard. But this Peter Kuest dude, he just does everything well. He's 25 years old. He's from Fresno, California, turned pro in 2020. He went to BYU, so that kind of gives me like not as good of vibes about him. I hate to say it, but apparently one of his teammates that went out on Twitter that one of his teammates, they were playing a very windy round at BYU.
No, it was in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. It was in Hawaii.
It was a Peter Kuest and this other guy had to play for the 5th spot in the tournament in Hawaii.
That's what it was. And I guess Peter Kuest was just striping it around. Like the wind wasn't touching his ball whatsoever. And this kid goes, "How are you doing that?" He goes, "Bro, when you hit it as good as I do, the wind doesn't touch your ball." Like you, and that's how you just know. That was like a famous Tiger quote back in the day. So he's definitely has all the confidence in the world to be able to do it. And this is like the Peter Kuest story is why hundreds of guys show up to these Monday qualifiers every week. Like it may turn into nothing for you. Even if you get through, you may miss the cut, or you may finish top 10, get into the next week, or top 5, like he did at the Rocket Mortgage, get into the next week, make the cut again, play well. Like he's made $650,000 this year in a couple of events on tour. Like you can win everything on every mini tour and still not make that much money. So, it's well worth it to go out there, and you just gotta play very, very, very good golf. But if you think you have that in you, then all these guys out there Monday qualifying, like we've been talking about it for forever, but golf is just so deep now that there's dudes on mini tours like Sahith Theegala, for example. He got his tour card the year after COVID. So what, 2021? In 2020, he was playing mini tour events down in Scottsdale, like not even necessarily like beating everybody. And then he comes out in 2021, and I think he's PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, right? And then he's really like kind of established himself as a very good player on tour. So there's just so many good golfers out there. And it takes a lot of self-confidence for sure, because you're playing against everybody else that thinks they're just as good as you. So you have to play very well. You have to get hot at the right time. But there, dudes like Peter Kuest, that's the reason why everybody's still out there trying to qualify for these events every Monday.
Yeah, and so just because we're always make sure we're very correct and very astute on this podcast, I'll get into some specifics on Peter Kuest. So he obviously didn't play well on Sunday, but with the T17 finish at TPC Deer Run, he clinched special temporary membership for the remainder of the season. Basically, that means that he'll be free to accept unlimited sponsor exemptions through the FedEx Cup fall. When he finished T4 at the Rocket Mortgage, that earned him a spot in the John Deere Classic, just 2.32 points from clearing the threshold based on the number 150 in the 2022 FedEx Cup. He needed to finish in a two-way T76 or better at the John Deere, and once he made the cut, which included 69 players, it meant all he had to do was finish the weekend, just play every hole. He could have made quadruple bogey on every single hole to attain that special temporary membership. He's the 6th player on the PGA Tour to earn that this year, joining Akshay Bhatia, Ryan Gerard, Fox, Minwoo Lee, and Nikolai Højgaard. And if he's a special temporary member to get in the top 125 of the season-long standings through the FedEx Cup fall, he earns a full PGA Tour membership for 2024. He entered this season with a conditional Korn Ferry Tour status after finishing T126 at the final stage of Q School last fall, meaning no starts were guaranteed. He pursued a route of PGA Tour Monday qualifiers that have proven effective. The Rocket Mortgage was his 3rd successful Monday qualifier, and he got T14 at the Byron Nelson this year on a sponsor exemption as well. So now he's got some status. He can accept unlimited sponsor exemptions. That was, of course, all from PGAtour.com, just to quote our sources here. But just an incredible story. And the fact that, like, it's cool to have a Monday qualifier, like, get in and kind of make the cut even is a story. And then he's, like, contending, and all of a sudden they like, don't plan on having any cameras on him. And now he's, like, in 2 weeks, he's become a story. And that's what's cool about the PGA Tour. You can literally go from a guy that nobody will see a single televised shot of yours to becoming a legit story that people follow around the course in 2 weeks. And now he's got a legit chance to win this week at the Barbasol and further cement his actual PGA Tour status. It's like a perfect week for him playing as good as he is.
I was going to say, yeah, having this opposite field event for a guy like him, finish in the top 10 again, cash another pretty good sized check, huge check for, 99% of people. And see if he can get his way into the top 125 in the standings and basically earn his tour card that way and not have to go back to any sort of Q school or anything, or spend an entire year on the Korn Ferry Tour where you could win 5 times on the Korn Ferry Tour and not make 600 grand like he has this year. So, I mean, it's very, very hard to do. And that's why, maybe there's a handful of guys every year that can do it. But if you can get out there, man, that is the way to go. It feels like he is. And that's a thing too, is when you're in a position like his, you don't really have a choice but to play well. Like you just want to take advantage of, you have no time really to be nervous because you're like, I may never get this opportunity again. I have to take advantage of it. So I think you're not thinking about what can go wrong. Like you only have stuff to gain. Like there's really not much to lose for him by, not playing well. He's just thinking about everything that he can gain by really going out and performing these few weeks that he has. So props to him, man. Like he just is a baller. He gets it around and putts very well, just like everybody else really does on tour. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him at the Barbasol. I maybe wouldn't hate a sprinkle of him in the top 10 at the Barbasol either.
No, absolutely not. He's just shows that he can top 10 in legit PGA Tour events against a lot of good competition. Now he can go show and do it against the mid-level tour guys. Speaking of just this past weekend at TPC Deer Run and the John Deere Classic, how about Seamus Power on Sunday and starting out 7 under? Unfortunately, didn't finish how we liked it, but then Sepp Straka too. Like that course was for the taking at the beginning. A lot of guys eagling too. What did you think about? This is usually a birdie fest. Steve Stricker won it back 3 straight years, but I didn't think it was as bad as it has been in the past. What did you think about the week, and what did you think about Sepp Straka just coming from not nowhere, but there was a ton of guys up there. One guy just needed to go super low. He was on 59 watch for a good part of Sunday. What did you think about his round and just the tournament in general?
Yeah, this is one of the more entertaining courses and tournaments we watch all year. Not we watch all year because, some people like it, some people don't. But that is the thing that I think differentiates this course and like this tournament is we know that a low number is going to win it every year. Like we know that the course is quote unquote easier. It's not that long, but that's what I think makes it fun because when you go in with the intention of knowing it's going to be a super low score, I think it's still really fun to watch, that the guys are going to be making a lot of birdies and it's going to take some low rounds to get you there. But like Jonas Blick's shot, 62 day one and didn't even finish in the top 10. I mean, he definitely struggled the last few days here and there, but even Seamus Power, like my pick, of course, I think he started 5 under through 7 on day one. And then he started Sunday, basically what was that 14 holes. He was 11 under on in the start of round 1 and round 4. And in between that, he was only 4 under for the rest of the week. So, which is kind of crazy because the whole course is relatively gettable. Ooh, I just kicked the table. The whole course is relatively gettable out there. So it's not like the front nine's easier, harder, but he played like 14 holes in 11, 12 under, whatever. And then he only plays the rest of the week in like 3 under. So Seamus, I feel like really could have taken advantage of his good play first day and round 4. He really never figured out the back 9 at TPC Deer Run, but Sepp Straka's round, dude, he just came out of nowhere. For those of you who didn't see it, he shot 2 over the first day and was tied for 120th. Like one of he was basically last in the event and proceeds to go 23 under the last 3 days, which is just crazy good golf no matter where you're at. And so he's actually the first ever John Deere Classic winner that shot any single round over par, which is pretty crazy. Like, there's never been a winner of this event to shoot over par in any single round. So that just goes to show you how good his golf was the last 3 days. I will say, though, that coming down 18, it was kind of a weird spot because he did end up winning by what, two? Yeah, it was 2 strokes. The Brendan Todd was at 19, but he was like 4 shots clear, and that is a very, very comfortable lead. Like, even not very, very comfortable. No leads like really 100% safe on tour, but the guys chasing him had like 9 holes left, so he had a 4-shot lead, and in that case, like, it almost felt like he was trying to make birdie to shoot 59. And he overcooks one, hits a hard like 7-iron from like 184, I want to say. He's trying to hit a hard draw 7-iron, pulled it, went in the water. He ends up making double and finishing at 21 under. And luckily, he still held on to win. But it was interesting because afterwards in his interview, he said, no, I was actually aiming at the center of the green and just tugged it. Like, he said he wasn't trying to make birdie, but I think in the back of your mind, like, if you have a chance to like make history on the PGA Tour, like, I think there's been 10 all-time rounds in the 50s on the PGA Tour. So for him to like join that club of, you know, guys to shoot in the 50s, I think that's always got to be in the back of your mind no matter what. But just a tough situation for him because he's won one other time on the PGA Tour. So it's like, you know, luckily in his case, he didn't really have to choose between trying to make birdie and shooting 59 or winning because he kind of did both. But it just felt like he could have been way more conservative with that second shot. And he took it on, rinsed it, and, you know, he still ended up winning the event. So no harm, no foul there. But just crazy to see, like, a dude hit it so well all day. Couldn't miss anything on the greens. And there's even a few like 40-footers that he lipped out. Like, he could have shot way lower than he even did, which is just crazy to say. But, and then he steps up on 18, pipes a drive, and hits the worst. He said it was the only golf shot he missed hit all day. So I think that pressure definitely crept in a little bit. Like, holy shit, I could shoot 59. You know, there's the tournament to win, blah, blah, blah. And it all just kind of compiled on him. But, I mean, he still ended up winning. So you got to give the dude props. Just a crazy, 62 yesterday on Sunday. Just an unbelievable round.
Yeah. And like you said, you know, the fact of missing it on – he had such a good round going, and 17, that par 5, was playing at like 4.5 shots the whole week, or the whole Sunday. Basically, one of the easier holes on the course. Everybody was making birdie. He makes birdie on 17. All he needs to do is make par on 18, and he shoots 59. And it just goes to show you how tough golf is in general when he can't make birdie on 17 after he's been the hottest golfer on the course and one of the best rounds of all time on the PGA Tour is in his sights. Doesn't make birdie on 17 and then makes double on 18. So it's just kind of one of those things of golf does always fight back, no matter how good you're hitting it. And it did get kind of intense there. Brendan Todd made a horrific 3-putt on the par 3 16th to basically take himself out of it. Because like I said, 17 was a birdie hole, so he could have gotten himself within a shot at that point and then just had to birdie 17 or 18, and he 3-whacked 16 and took himself out of it. But yeah, from one point he had a 5-shot lead. He thought he was going to run away with it, to then he makes double on the last hole and it gets pretty intense. But just a great win, and cool to see a guy come out from basically not one of the guys that's right there at the top of the leaderboard on a Sunday, go out and fire such a low round. You just win the event. You know, nobody lost that event. He won it, which is always fun to see.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you had guys like Cameron Young that were near the top of the leaderboard and a few others that started Sunday at like 15, 16 under, and they still could go out and shoot, you know, 2-3 under par and lose the event on Sunday. So it was one of those where he was in just good enough position to have that round mean something Sunday, meaning Sepp Straka with that 9 under par round. But it was definitely one of those events where you had to be at least, you know, Sepp started the day at 12 under. So it wasn't like he was out of it by any means, but then, 9 under. I don't think anybody else shot more than probably 6 under yesterday. So definitely beat the field by quite a bit. And it's just, I think that golf course looks really cool. Like, I would love to try to play there sometime. Right there on the river, the Mississippi, or no, it's not on the Mississippi River. It is right on a river though. But it just looks like a very, very cool tournament, and a lot of guys really enjoy that place. I know, so that's always just a fun kind of. It's not like that important of an event, and there's not going to be that many big names. But at the same time, it's a fun watch every year.
Yeah, and it's one of those courses where it was a little bit quote unquote easier for these guys and lower scores, but if you missed the fairway, it was really penal. So you could, if you hit in the fairway, a lot of guys made a ton of birdies, but the second you missed the fairway, there was a few holes where they were just basically taking themselves out of it and making bogeys. Before we get out of here, we definitely got to talk about Brooks Koepka and calling out Matthew Wolff for basically quitting on the team. What do you think about his comments? And then what do you think about the whole team aspect? We saw the tweet yesterday from some LIV golf writer. Shout out to Cam Smith for winning LIV Golf London. He is in prime form and will 100% be on our Bet365 betting card for the Open Championship in 2 weeks. But what do you think about Brooks's comments? And then there's the team aspect, Cam Smith. So that tweet we saw, Cam Smith was sad that he missed the putt, even though he won the individual event. Because it would have gotten his team into like a playoff, which would have been kind of a cool thing. I don't know if it's a scorecard playoff or they actually go out and play, but what's your thoughts on just kind of the whole team part of it? It's kind of lame to me still. I don't think I can get on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely so from what I read, the team money that they win week in, week out goes towards operating expenses. Because they essentially kind of have to pay their own way as a team for travel and things like that, which I really don't understand completely how that works. But it sounds like it goes towards funding the team. So it doesn't necessarily just get split up 4 ways and go in each dude's pocket. But yeah, I don't know if Cam was kind of putting on a little bit of a show, you really cared if the team won or not, but the dude still cleared $4 million. So who really cares? He's doing just fine for himself. I don't really think he's too worried about that. But the whole Matthew Wolff, Brooks Koepka thing is pretty funny just because Koepka, I feel like they look like brothers anyway. Matt Wolff could be Brooks Koepka's little brother, but Koepka's he just gives up on the golf course. So then he was I'm not down for giving up. And then he goes, well, I'm giving up on Matthew Wolff. You got to pick one. You either say you can't give up or, you're okay with giving up on him. But yeah, it seems like Matthew Wolff is definitely one of those guys that's cashed it in just a hair on the LIV Tour. I don't even know if he's going to keep status. He's finished bottom 5 in a lot of events. He's just not played very well. So, but he's also spoken out about mental health and things like that, which obviously is something you want to take serious. But at the same time, you can't just not do your job and, blame it on that and everything's hunky dory. You still got to pay the piper, and that if Brooks Koepka's funding all his shit, Brooks Koepka's making all this money, then I could see there being some team accountability. Hey, dude, I'm making all this money. I'm paying for our team stuff. And you're over here not giving a shit and just cashing in your check every week. You got to at least try. So I do understand where he's coming from, but it just goes to show you there can be a little infighting on with these teams and a little team drama. So I don't hate it. It maybe feels a little forced now, but it's just a new aspect. We've never had this in golf. So it definitely is not your typical golf drama, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, it definitely makes for a little bit of additional drama, if you will, additional storylines. I think they were on the range next to each other, which I think is kind of probably a required thing for the way that when we went to LIV, it looks like all the teams are kind of together. So that part does make sense. And maybe they've made up or maybe Matt Wolff just had a good conversation with Brooks and was like, hey, dude, I'm sorry. Giving up is obviously not something you want to do, but also there's some other issues out there that sounds like Matt Wolff is dealing with. So it's going to be interesting to see as this goes along with LIV and, teammates either fighting with each other or somebody leaving a certain team and going to another team. We'll have to do some research on how that works specifically. If the captain just chooses Like one of Cam Smith's teammates, the dude Tanner Morgan or whatever that we saw just absolutely slapping it around in Tulsa. He has 192 Instagram followers. That's how popular he is.
Oh my God, that is
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, like
just one of Cam's mates.
They really did. Talk about putting your boys on your back, like basically getting your buddies a job by just being who you are. Like, what a deal.
Exactly. So
real quick before we get out of here, we got to shout out Rickie Fowler. We did not have a pod last week, but he did win the Rocket Mortgage in a playoff, which was actually a pretty fun watch, although everybody had to watch it on their phone because it wasn't actually on televised golf, which was a little bit odd. Definitely a big ass fumble by CBS and all that, even though they did have to change tee times and move tee times up due to weather. It was still just like, why do I have to watch this on the CBS app on my phone? But I actually remember real quick. I remember Rickie. Do you remember Rickie last year? Because he's a big like Rocket Mortgage like they're one of his main sponsors. So he missed the cut last year at the Rocket Mortgage and was like hitting balls on the driving range on Saturday, like out there practicing. And I was just like, this is so like forced and weird. Like you missed the cut. Why are you out there like hitting balls with all the other dudes that are playing over the weekend? So just to see him come back and actually win that event again this year is pretty darn cool. And like, just goes to show you what a year can do. But maybe we'll see a little bit of Rickie. You know, he somehow always plays fairly well over across the pond, like the British Open, Scottish Open. So maybe he's gearing up into form. And I will say that I said he was going to win that event and I was going to leave him off my betting card. So I have to put that out there because verbal is binding on that. I chose him to win. He just was not on my card. So
Rickie Fowler owes you a thank you for leaving him off the betting card is what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah. I tweeted it out. I think PGA Tour players need to start paying me to just leave them off my betting card.
Well, shout out to Rickie Fowler. Shout out to Sepp Straka for his dominating win. We're going to have a fun weekend, double events. We got the Barbasol, the Scottish Open. Watch that. It's great golf over there in Scotland as guys get geared up. We'll be back next week with a Open Championship preview, talk about the golf course, talk about who we think is going to win. Download that Bet365 app. Use the promo code DNVR365 to get yourself $200 in bonus bets. My bonus bet for this week I put in is going to be Brandon Wu, top 10ing at the Scottish Open. That's plus 1,200. So we both got a couple of plus 1,200 bonus bets out there. Get us 12 extra units.
Brandon, woo!
Brandon, woo! Going in the top 10. Enjoy the Scottish Open. Enjoy the Barbasol. We're getting ready for a major week, the last one of the year. I am going to go change a diaper. It will be great. I'm having a great time. Everything is awesome. Make sure you follow us on all the socials at Big Drive Energy, at Big Drive Energy Pod on Instagram and Threads if you're hitting up the new social media platform. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Peace.